Welcome back to Your Cheddar, presented by Ally. Ally is a leading digital financial services company committed to doing right by you and your cheddar.
That's right, and if you haven't started thinking about retirement, you're behind in the savings department, according to almost every personal finance expert out there. Joining us now to discuss the repercussions of putting off these retirement savings is Alex Sadler, managing editor of Clark.com. Alex, we're happy to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
All right, so you talk about this present bias when it comes to savings. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so present bias, let me explain what it means. It's not something that a phrase you hear every day, right? So it's present bias is the tendency to prioritize your current lifestyle over your future well-being. So prioritizing your current needs and wants, the here and now, over your future financial, or over your future financial security. So basically, it's the worst type of procrastination, putting off saving for the future, and it's causing people a lot of problems by putting it off.
So, Alex, you say that, and how do you get out of that pattern of having present bias and really start saving for retirement if it's not even something that you're thinking about right now?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people aren't even thinking about it. So Americans have this need for immediate gratification, right? So what can they get here and now? And with everyone's heard the phrase and the term, the mindset, I can always save later. But what I think it's important for people to do is not focus on right now and living your life and your current lifestyle, but start to factor in the future. What are your goals? When do you want to meet them? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live in the future? And that will kind of start to shift your mindset in the way you look at time. So rather than looking at time like retirement's way down the road, in the way distant future, I have so much time to save. Instead, look at that as, a 25-year-old, you have 40 years to save for retirement. Look at it the opposite way. You have so much time, and it makes it so much easier to build up a solid amount of wealth over that time. And when you're just starting out, reaching your big goals can seem really difficult when you see big numbers. So start small. Make it automatic. If you have a 401k at work, you get the employer match. Contribute enough to get that employer match. It's free money, and have it come out of your paycheck automatically every single month. Same thing with your savings, short-term savings that you keep in cash. Have it set apart, set directly from your paycheck into your savings account, so that you can't see it, you can't spend it. That pattern of making things automatic and doing it for you really gets you in a good habit of long-term financial success.
Awesome.
And it's thinking about when you're doing it, it just does it for you. It makes it a lot easier. And then the earlier you do it, so early and often, is a lot better, because it allows you to save less out of every month, out of every paycheck, less every month, less every year, and it'll grow over time. Instead of reaching a certain point in your life and you're like, all of a sudden you need X amount to retire by this time, it becomes a lot. So early and often, I would say, is the best way to go about it.
Okay, early and often, we should remember that. But also, too, I would imagine that there are things people might be spending too much money on now, and they could use some of that extra money or extra cheddar that they would be spending toward things that are maybe too pricey, and put that toward retirement. So we tease this segment by saying 7 things you're spending way too much money on. What are those 7 things?
Yeah, so just 7 is difficult, right? I wish we had a lot more time, but a few things that people don't really think about as costs that they can change. Car insurance. That's one expense that most people have, and just shopping around for a better car insurance rate. Prescription drugs. There are so many ways to save on prescriptions. There are apps and online tools and calculators that will find you, or online tools that will find you the best price right near you. You could take one prescription into a pharmacy and take the exact same one into a pharmacy next door, and you could be paying $100 difference. So you need to do your homework and do a little comparison shopping. Same with food. Change where you shop is the biggest thing with food. Look at, what costs, how much things cost you regularly buy at different places. You don't want to buy 10 things at 10 different stores. Nobody does. But, look at how you can save at a warehouse club, things you should buy at a grocery store and which grocery store, things you can buy at the dollar store, at the drugstore, and then your cell phone service. That is one thing people avoid switching because they think it's a pain and they just stick with the same provider. A
Alex,
study recently.
real quick, we don't have too much time, so I want to make sure we get to this question. When it comes to paying for all of these things, do you want to use a debit card or a credit card, or either or both? When should you use one? When should you use the other?
With a debit card, I'd say never. That's a for security and protection rule of thumb. Using a debit card, really the only safe way to do it is at an ATM, which isn't always safe. The purpose of an ATM, of a debit card, should really just be to get cash back and to use at an ATM because of the protections. So if you use a debit card, you need to check your bank account every day, because fraud with a debit card is much easier, and it's a lot more difficult when fraud hits your debit card to get your money back. So places online, at pay at the pump, at grocery stores, there are a lot of places where it's better to use a credit card, because if you're hit by fraud, the protections are better, it's easier to get your money back. So it's appealing for a lot of people to use a debit card because you can only spend what you have. I understand that. So the thing about it is being careful. So if you only have a debit card and you have to use it, you need to understand where to use it, where not, and check your accounts every day. It's just a quick check to make sure you don't see anything funny. And when you do, report it immediately. Because with a debit card, you only have sometimes 48 hours to report it before you can actually lose money. Because with a debit card, money leaves your hands, right? With a credit card, no money leaves your hands, since it's essentially a loan from the lender. So getting your money back when you're hit by debit card fraud is a lot more difficult.
Alex, when it comes to social media, a lot of people, a lot of millennials, very expressive on social media, some more so than others. But what are no-nos or things absolutely that you should not be sharing on social media that could jeopardize your finances, put you more at risk of something like fraud, and make you more vulnerable, right, financially as a person?
Yeah, absolutely. This is it's incredible kind of how smartphones and social media have caused people to let their guard down. You know, text messaging, social, it's more of a personal, these platforms become so personal that people have let their guard down, and they're sharing kind of any and everything. I laugh at my husband because he says he has to be my filter. But when it comes to protecting yourself, things you might not think of, your birthday, your address, your phone number, your family members' names, when you're out of town, all these things can be one piece of the puzzle that a criminal needs to steal your identity and steal your money, right? So they're collecting as much as they can on any and everyone. One thing you share could be that last piece of the puzzle, and then you're up the creek, right? So be careful about what you share and how you share it and who you share it with. Because that's another thing, you know, when you're online and you're on social media, you don't know always who you're talking to. And it's always better to be safe than sorry. And one other thing on that, Clark yesterday was talking about passwords and protecting your online accounts and your social accounts is it's become a lot easier for hackers to hack into passwords. So a better strategy now, experts are saying use a long phrase that only you would know. I think around 12 characters, but use a long phrase that no one would know to protect yourself.
All right, Alex Sadler, managing editor of Clark.com. Well, we will remember those tips. Thank you so much for joining us.